All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Warakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of this whole entire earth, no matter where, whom they may be, or what they may look like, pushing out this purified truth. To the rest of the church who believe as well. You men who may not be teachers or prophets, you women, sons and daughters also. The water to Yahweh Shai, because without him enduring and going to that cross for the nation of Israel and the nation of Israel alone, none of this would even be possible whatsoever. All right. So basically, what inspired me to do this lesson, I was at work about a week and a half ago, and me and what looked to be an Edomite basically had a little conversation. But within the conversation, he had mentioned the unfairness at my job. You know, how basically he believes I, myself, and other men, because of our so-called, color, being black, being labeled black, that we get picked on, or, people try to make things hard for us. And he was getting into how he feels sorry and he thinks it's unfair how things are set up in this world, blase, blase, blah, which, he could have been an Israelite. So with that being said, months before, another what looked to be an Edomite had approached me with the same kind of mentality. And he had approached me asking me if I taught on the streets, because he actually saw me. And me being on my Clark Kent mode and being at work, I was kind of like, no, I don't know. I don't think that was me, trying to play stupid or whatever. He was like, basically, well, it kind of looked like you or whatever. I was like, well, did you go up and ask the guy, who he was, or go see, if it was me or not? He was like, no, I didn't have time to. So I was, trying to, use wisdom in the situation. Long story short, he went from that to he knows there's a lot of racism at my job, and, just totally starts bringing up, the unfairness of Esau. So, these two men could be Israelites. Who knows? But a lot of these Edomites, they have guilt within their conscience, and they know they're not right. Okay. I have a definition of white guilt pulled up on Wikipedia. It says white guilt refers to a belief that white people, which we know there's no such thing, bear a collective responsibility for the term, which has resulted from historical or current racist treatment of people belonging to other racial groups, as for example in context of the Atlantic slave trade, European colonialism, and the genocide of indigenous peoples. In certain regions of the Western world, it can be called white settler guilt, white colonial guilt, and other variations, which refer to the guilt more pointedly in relation to European settlement and colonization, which we also know the original Europeans were not so-called white people. The concept of white guilt has examples both historically and currently in the United States, and to a lesser extent in Canada, South Africa, France, and the United Kingdom. The feeling of white guilt has been described by psychologists such as Lisa B. Spanierman and Mary J. Hepner as one of the psychosocial consequences of racism for white individuals, along with empathy for victims of racism and fear of non-white people. So deep down inside, these Edomites know they're guilty. And that's why they're fighting very hard against this truth, starting with the elites of Edom. And not only do they know that they are guilty, people around them know that they are guilty. But Esau has deceived the whole world, so a lot of people are in that spell to where they're not really, pondering on the real issue at hand, which is Esau. Esau is the one causing trouble throughout the earth. Okay? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. The world is in mourning because the wicked beareth rule. The wicked are the Edomites. The wicked being the so-called white race. Not all so-called white people are of Esau, okay? But primarily, so-called white people go back to Esau, Edom. But it doesn't matter your skin complexion. All Edomites, okay, are of the devil. Period, point blank. When the righteous are in authority, being the Israelites, the people rejoice. So we know that those fake Jewish rats who are in our homeland right now, they aren't the people, because the world is not rejoicing. People are suffering. People are oppressed. People are trying to figure out how to make ends meet. People are settling with working at jobs like McDonald's and Burger King, not because they want to, but because they have to, under the wicked. All right. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Let's go to Ezekiel 32 and verse 2. Son of man, take up lamentation for Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and say unto him, Thou art like a young lion of the nations, and thou art as a well in the seas, and thou camest forth with thy rivers, and troublest the waters with thy feet, and foldest their rivers. So modern day Pharaoh is Esau, Edom. Okay, we understand that the original so-called Egyptians were dark-skinned people, all right? But Esau is the modern day Pharaoh. In fact, when you go back in the history, Ptolemy took over, okay? And that's really when Esau started claiming that they were the Egyptians, when Ptolemy came in, okay? And then through Ptolemy, the false image of Yahushua was brought forth through a false identity known as Ptolemy II. Okay, I can't think of the name right now, but that was the original picture of what we see today through reincarnation as Caesar Borgia, aka so-called white Jesus. All right. So the Pharaoh here isn't speaking of ancient Pharaoh. The Pharaoh here is speaking of modern day Pharaoh being Esau, Edom. Son of man, take up lamentation for Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and say unto him, Thou art like a young lion of the nations, and thou art as a well in the seas. And thou camest forth with thy rivers, and troublest the waters with thy feet, and foldest their rivers. So the wicked, okay, the modern day Pharaoh, Esau, Edom, they trouble the waters. The waters represent the people. Okay? Esau troubles the people, which in turn is going to cause people to turn against them. It's going to cause people to want to overthrow them. Okay, so that so-called white guilt that they feel in their conscience, well, it comes from their own actions that they have done. You know, they're troubling other people. People mourn under their authority. Okay. Verse 3, Thus saith the Lord power, I will therefore spread out my net over thee with a company of many people, and they shall bring thee up in my net. So yeah. So troubling people is only going to cause them to turn against you, Esau. You can't have the whole world mourning and think your day is not going to come. Okay? Let's go to Jeremiah. Chapter 49 and verse 15. You know, everybody's tired of your shit. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. So people despise you, Esau. It's just right now you're in the power seat. So a lot of people are scared to speak up against you because of so-called white supremacy. But you know deep down inside in your conscience that you have a lot to pay for. And some of these, what look to be Edomites who have that quote unquote white guilt, a lot of them are Israelites, man. Okay? Because Esau's proud. All right? Thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks. Hence, why you're called Caucasians. Okay? That holdest the height of the hill. Though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. So Esau is hated among men, and his terribleness, being his military, has deceived him. They believe they can't be brought down, but they will be brought down, and their own conscience condemns them through something known as white guilt. Let's go to Job 15 and verse 6. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee. So just like those two what looked to be Edomites who had approached me, basically mentioning how they know the unfairness that goes on at my job and how these so-called white people be treating our people. Okay? And the first guy that I brought up, he was actually the second guy, but the first guy that had approached me, he had saw me teaching. So he had to have known about the Israelites, because he went from seeing me teaching to the unfairness of how black people get treated at our job. You know what I mean? And I work at a very racist job. You know what I mean? I have to endure that to get my money. But one thing about it, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is giving me the skill to where I do my job better than these Edomites, man. So they know I get the job done. So it don't matter. All right? At the end of the day, you devils will be brought down. Your pride has deceived you, and your own mouth condemns you. All right? You know you done fucked up. Okay? Let's go to Job. We're going to stay in Job, but we're going to go to Job 18 and verse 7. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. Before I came into this truth, what really kind of altered my way of thinking, okay, and had me seeing things different, was when I discovered an Edomite by the name of John Todd. And John Todd basically laid it out that Esau, the devil, all the evil things that they would do, all the spells that they would cast, and all the witchcraft, and just all the deception that they would do in the background. It had me alter my mind, because I wanted to be the next biggest rapper and producer. You know, coming from a place where a lot of men, matter of fact, no one has ever really made it where I am. So in my eyes, it was like, you know, I could be the first guy to do it big. People heard my stuff. They're like, man, you good. You need to get that out there. Blah, blah, blah. You know, but when I came across John Todd and the so-called Illuminati, it had me thinking differently. Okay, and this was before I came into the truth. So I started to slow down with some of my stupidity, and I started thinking differently at that point. All based off of Esau's own counsel casting him down, to where I kind of woke up out of the deception. It started with John Todd. Okay, so their own counsel is bringing them down, and you have other Edomites who are exposing the agenda of the New World Order. Okay, which who's at the forefront? Who's the figurehead of it? Esau, because really it's Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua's New World Order that he's setting up as the ultimate, matter of fact, as the supreme test. Okay, so they're going down, man, and their own conscience is condemning them for it. They know they've messed up. They know they have a lot to pay for, and they can't pay for it. It's a tab too high. Okay, Psalm 64, chapter 6, or Psalms chapter 64, verse 6. They search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. And John Todd broke it down. And then guess what happened to him? He just disappeared, man. Okay. Whether he's being tortured underground somewhere to this very day. Whether they killed him, the guy disappeared after exposing all the information that he exposed about how Esau gets down, how these elites get down. Okay, and the same thing happened to a man by the name of Aaron Russo. Okay, and I remember before coming into the truth, I had watched something by him. I forget what it was called. I think it was something along the lines of being angry or something. And he was just going in to basically how evil the powers to be are, and how people need to take a stand and stop letting the powers to be, manipulate you, and, how you don't own your children, and, they want everybody chipped. Okay. And just like some other men in the truth, I believe Aaron Russo was a Jake. All right. But long story short, you have people within the nation of Edom, and those who even look like them, who basically infiltrate because they eventually end up speaking and exposing them for their evils. So their own tongue is bringing them down, seeing how the biggest tool that the devil has is deception. That's why the word devil just means deceiver. The word devil doesn't mean monster from hell with a pitchfork, I'm gonna kill you now. Okay? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. John Todd had brought out how when they would release albums, different satanic witches would pray over these albums so that when the music would be played, it would put people in a spell. Okay, have people, thinking differently, doing wickedness, man, under the influence of the song that's being played. Because when you play a good song, it's no different than being high off cocaine in some ways, because your brain releases a chemical known as dopamine. And it's spiritual because, when a good song come on, Jake be like, man, that song dope. That song dope as hell. Yeah, your brain's releasing dopamine. And if that song has a bad message, your subconscious will pick up on it. Okay? And then you over here wondering, why in the hell am I thinking that? Where's this thought coming from? It came from that song you was listening to 3 months ago. Okay? So that's how deep the minds of these devils are. They know. Okay, they studied the minds of men. But the power shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded. So eventually they're going to be overthrown. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai going to blast them with the missiles, man. And them laser beams. And then the ones who are hiding out, who don't get caught up in that, it don't matter, because Yahweh Shai and the rest of his men are going to be kicking down doors and grabbing Edomites by the neck and throwing them in chains, man. So, moving on to the next verse, let's touch on, what's that in? Let's go to the Apocrypha. Matter of fact, let's go to the Apocrypha. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 41 and verse 7. The children will complain of an ungodly father, because they shall be reproached for his sake. So now, something known as white guilt being put to the forefront, these Edomites know, like, man, I've been lied to. I thought I was great. I thought the reason why we had everything is because we had the right to do what we did, because we're just that great, because we're an amazing people. Okay, no. The reason why you have what you have, well, first and foremost, it goes back to the scriptures. It's a blessing that was given to you through Isaac. Okay? You were given this world. And as you were given this world, you totally abused your power by being a total bully and asshole to your younger brother. And with doing that, you broke the brotherly covenant. So we ain't brothers no more. Okay? That's why we don't look at you Edomites as brothers. Y'all broke that brotherly covenant, and we ain't going back to it. All right, you bite me once, okay, cool. You're not going to bite me again. And if Gad would have applied that same mentality, which it was ultimately set up that they went down, but if Gad would have applied that mentality, you wouldn't have overthrew them because you played the role of being a devil, playing kind, just to take them down later. Okay? There ain't no good in you devils, man, and your history shows it. And now your own people complain about what their forefathers have done because ultimately you are your forefathers. And your own mouth condemns you when you complain about your forefathers, when you complain about what our people went through, when you try to sympathize and have empathy, unless you go back to our people, okay? You're not innocent. The children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. Woe be unto you, ungodly men, which have forsaken the law of the Most High Power. For if ye increase, it shall be to your destruction. And look at all the increase you Edomites have brought forth. And now look at your society. Your society's fallen. You done did all this just for you to fall, just for you to have an overthrow, just for the whole world to eventually turn against you. And in the kingdom, oh my God, you're going to have it horrible, Esau. You're going to have it so bad. Okay, just like how you have the nigger woman right now, you have her mind right now. Imagine when the nigger woman is against you. You know the the so-called black woman, she can talk, man. She can talk her shit. In the kingdom, imagine a so-called nigger woman cursing your ass out. That's going, it ain't gonna feel good. It ain't gonna feel good. That alone is gonna be extremely horrible for you devils, man. Just to have the so-called black woman cursing your ass out. You got a lot coming, man. So all the complaining that people are doing because of the unfairness of this society, you are the cause of it all, and you will go down. All right? So as much as you complain of your people, you're basically condemning yourself. Matter of fact, let's bring that out again. In Job, this is Job chapter 15 and verse 6. Thine own mouth condemneth thee. So when you complain of an ungodly father, did you know that your own mouth is condemning you? And I'll show you why here in a second. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I, yea, thine own lips testify against thee. So the fact that you say you feel sorry for what's happened to my people, the fact that you say the people who did that to us, they should pay for what they've done, but it wasn't me. No, it was you. Let's get that and close it. Jeremiah chapter 32 and verse 18. Thou showest loving kindness unto thousands, and recompense the iniquity of the fathers into the bosom of their children after them. The great, the mighty power, the Lord of hosts is his name. So the iniquities of the fathers, guess what happens? It gets passed down to the children after them because you come back in the reincarnation. So all the wickedness that you've done that you may have thought you gotten away from in that current life, the Lord can have you come back in the next life or the life after that or the life after that. Because see, look where we are now. Now we're at the very end. So for all of you Edomites who are here today, the Lord hates you, man. Because you were those people who had us on them slave ships. And then you'll complain about your ungodly fathers. Oh, how could they do such a thing? Well, you just condemned yourself because you are them. And you just proved that your ass needs to go into slavery and pay for what you've done. Okay? Everybody's tired of your crap, Esau, including yourself. So I'm going to go on ahead and close it there. All thanks and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Wa Rakakwadash. Shalom.